Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data MongoDB. Are you listening, guys? Spring Data MongoDB and etc. So what actually we are learning is Spring Data module. Okay, guys. MongoDB and etc. Okay, now listen. Now I'm talking about need of Spring Data module. Let us try to understand what is the need of Spring Data module. Okay, guys. Before the arrival of Spring Data modules, before the arrival of Spring Data module, am I audible, guys? Before the arrival of Spring Data module, tell me. In Spring or Spring Boot, we don't have any module. We don't have any module to interact with NoSQL database software. Yesterday we discussed when should I go for SQL, when should I go for NoSQL, right? We don't have any module to interact with NoSQL database software. Moreover, okay, to interact with SQL database softwares, we have different options. We have different options. What are the different options, guys? Okay. If a Java application wants to interact with files, okay, files don't leave it. SQL database software. What are the options we are having, guys? What are the options we are having? Okay, Spring application. Spring application, what are the options we are having was Spring JDBC or Spring OR. We are having these two options or not? Spring JDBC or Spring OR. Spring JDBC or Spring OR. Right now, boss? And we don't have any module to interact with NoSQL database software. Got it, guys? Okay. If Spring application wants to interact with MongoDB, okay. Spring application wants to interact with what? MongoDB. Okay. Mongo API plus Mongo driver. No, nothing is from Spring. Nothing is from Spring side, right? If Spring application wants to interact with Cassandra, DB, Cassandra API plus Cassandra driver. Cassandra driver. What's the meaning of that, guys? What is the problem here, guys? We don't have any provision to interact with the NoSQL database software in Spring. We have to use database software specific APIs or not. Here we are using database software specific APIs. Database software specific APIs and drivers. Right now, boss? Because Spring is not providing any APIs and drivers. Spring is not providing any APIs to interact with NoSQL database software. NoSQL database software, where before the arrival of Spring Data module. Understanding my statement, guys? Okay. Tell me, guys. After the arrival of Spring Data module. After the arrival of Spring Data module. Now listen carefully, guys. If Spring application, Spring Data module provides unified environment by giving lots of submodules, right now, boss? By giving lots of submodules to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software. This is interesting, guys. Okay, SQL database software. SQL and NoSQL database software. Spring application wants to interact with SQL database software or a regular database. Then what is the one we should use, guys? Then what is the one we should use? Come on, tell me. Okay. Spring Data JPA they have given, right? Or Spring Data JDBC. But Spring Data JPA is popular, right now, boss? Okay. All right. Spring application wants to interact with MongoDB, boss. MongoDB. Yeah, different, guys. This is JDBC style. This is ORM style. Spring Data JPA is ORM style. This is JDBC style. Okay. Spring Data. We have a Spring Data MongoDB. All these are submodules of what? Spring Data MongoDB. If Spring application wants to interact with what? Cassandra. Okay, Cassandra. Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay, both are a Spring JDBC is different. Spring Data JDBC is different. Clear? Spring JDBC means Spring DAO. Okay. Spring Data submodules are different from already available Spring modules. Spring Data Cassandra. Okay, to interact with the Cassandra database software. Like this, we have multiple submodules, guys. Spring Data Neo4j. Spring Data Neo4j. To interact with what? Neo4j database software. Neo4j database software. Cassandra database software. Neo4j. Okay. Here when I say SQL, what they are, guys? Oracle, MySQL, come on, PostgreSQL, okay, SQL Server, dot. And all these are NoSQL database softwares, na boss. NoSQL database software. Array, listen, SQL stores data, manage data in its own way. NoSQL stores the data, manage data in its own way. But how it provides unified model, sir? How it provides unified model, right? That question is eating your brain or not? Okay. Array, something like this. Every database is different. Okay. Now listen carefully. It's something like this, guys. You think about real life example. You think about real life example. Okay. Mm. You have separate remote to operate TV, separate remote to operate ACs, separate remote to operate fans, separate remote to operate some other devices. Yes, na? Okay. Instead of managing those many separate individual remotes, better to purchase single universal remote or not? Better to purchase single universal remote or not? That universal remote will have a lot of sub built-in remotes. Okay, when I say, hey, universal remote switch on TV, it will switch on TV. Hey, universal remote switch on AC, it will work for AC. Hey, universal remote do something else, it will do something else. Why? Because the universal remote will have a lot of subsystems. Right now, boss? Okay. In MI mobile also we are having universal remote, right? And in the market also now universal remotes are available. In the market also universal remotes are available. Got the point, guys? Okay. Note. Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring ORM. Okay. MongoDB API, Cassandra DB API. Okay, API, even plain JDBC API, here Hibernate API, Spring ORM or Hibernate, right? Hibernate API, and there's no need of writing API for them. And etc. are like managing different remotes to operate different electronic devices. Different electronic devices. Understanding my statement? Like separate TV remote. Understanding my statement, guys? Separate TV remote. Separate. Akash Jeshwal, if you listen the class, you'll understand. If you don't listen, if you are your own dunya, I'm helpless. First, question yourself, when did you join? Akash, when did you join? First, tell me. I will join in my own timings. And everything should get into my brain means not going to work out. Muddy fellow. Shameless fellow. This much clearly I have written everything in the document, and this fellow is saying how it is different explained. First, if you first keep the habit of listening class from the beginning, na? Okay. Tell me. Separate TV remote, separate AC remote, and etc. AC remote and etc. Is that understanding my statement, guys? Okay. Whereas working with Spring Data and its submodules is like what, guys? Is like okay, operating all the devices using single universal remote. Single universal remote. Yeah, my dear latecomers, please remember one thing. Spring Data is a big module having a lot of submodules. Clear? Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data JPA, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data Cassandra, etc., etc. Okay, what is need of Spring Data module? That's what I launched today. Before arrival of Spring Data module in Spring or Spring Boot, we don't have any modules to interact with what? NoSQL database software. Point 1 to be noted, right? Point 2. Point 2. Okay, now listen. In Spring, to interact with SQL database software, we have Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, right? Okay. To interact with MongoDB, no separate modules. Now we have to use Mongo API separately. Cassandra means we have to use Cassandra API separately. That means we need to deal with SQL and NoSQL database software separately. The way we interact with SQL is different. The way we interact with NoSQL is different. Right now, boss? Okay. Tell me. Before the arrival of Alexa, stop. Before the arrival of Spring Data module, okay, we need to deal with the SQL database softwares separately and NoSQL database softwares separately from Spring applications. From Spring applications. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Right. Next, after arrival of Spring Data module, what happened, guys? Spring Data module provides what, guys? Provides unified environment. What do you mean by unified? Are SQL or NoSQL, the way do you interaction is same. The basic model of communication is same, Rababu. Spring Data module provides unified environment by using lots of submodules to interact with both SQL and NoSQL database softwares. Everyone getting my point? Everyone understanding my statement? That means the way you do coding, the methods you call, the kind of programming you do, the kind of abstraction you get is the same for both SQL and NoSQL database software. With minor changes, guys. With minor changes. Earlier, we don't have any option to interact with NoSQL. That's why we have used what? Mongo API separately, Cassandra API separately, right? But here, all of them can be interacted in a common way. In a common way. It's like universal remote or not. That's what I compare. That's what I compared. Come on. Got the clarity, boss? Okay. Right, boss. Now tell me. Now let me give the diagram related to one small diagram. After explaining universal remote example also, you cannot say, guys. Spring Data image. One popular image will be there. Yeah, this is the popular image of Spring Data, guys. Copy this image, paste here. How to make this image as big image? Okay, fine. Let it be. Okay. blur happen. How to make it as big image, Babu? How to make it as big image? Open image and copy. Huh? First, I have to save a copy image, guys. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah, now it has come, guys. Check it out. Don't get into the technicalities, guys. Don't get into technicalities. Spring data is the big module, right? Now we have some repositories. I will explain those repositories later. It is having Spring Data JPA to interact with what? RDBMS database software, which is nothing but SQL database software. In that process, it uses JPA, then JDBC. JPA is nothing but OR na, OR mapping, right? JPA or OR. JPA or ORM. ORM is the concept, JPA is the specification. I already discussed this. Okay, guys. Next. This is one channel, guys. This is one channel, right? Spring data. This. Okay, this. Clear, my dear. Got it? Similarly, Spring data uses Spring data MongoDB module. Okay, and use what? Internal uses Mongo driver to interact with MongoDB database software, which is a NoSQL database software. Yeah, next one. Same Spring data uses what? Spring data Neo4j, and it internally uses its own setup, guys, to interact with what? Neo4j database software. Similarly, Spring data uses other Spring data submodules. This submodule is not fixed, right? It can be anything. I am giving better diagram there. Other Spring data submodule, okay, to interact with other NoSQL database software. In the market, we have multiple NoSQL database software, Couchbase, Cassandra. For everything, there is a possibility of utilizing this. This is another NoSQL database software. Okay, now listen, guys. This code repository, paging and sorting repository, okay, they got the ability to generate certain persistence logic dynamically, guys. Code repository generates persistence logic for regular insert, update, delete, select operation. Paging and sorting of repository generates what? Persistence logic for paging, displaying huge number of record page by page, sorting the record alphabet wise. Come on, this one. Okay, these two are common repositories, guys. They can be used by Spring Data JPA, Spring Data MongoDB, Spring Data Neo4j, Spring Data any other submodule. But at the same time, every submodule is having their own repository. Check it out, guys. JPA repository, Mongo repository, Graph repository. But these are dynamic modules. These are common repositories. Getting my point, guys? Okay. Spring data works based on repository pattern. Having pattern which says which has got ability to generate persistence logic dynamically, which has got the ability to generate persistence logic dynamically dynamically without taking any inputs from developer. At least Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, what they say, guys, you write 30% code, I generate 70% code. You write 10% code, I will develop 90% code. But this repository says what you know? Okay, this repository, I will develop total persistence logic, guys. Ability to generate total persistence logic. Total persistence logic. This is interesting or not? Is it not interesting? Total persistence logic without taking any inputs from developer. Without taking any inputs from developer. Okay, guys. Crude repository. Okay, code repository, paging and sorting repository are the common repositories. Okay, common repositories. Akshay Jaiswal, without introducing repositories, you are asking question about and you are trying to cover up your madness. Stop covering your attitude. Concentrate on the class, muddy fellow. I just introduced repositories and he's saying that I was asking this question. Okay, I request everyone, if you know little bit of Spring Data, JDBC, Spring Data, JPS, Spring Data, keep that aside, hand over your brain. Please hand over your empty brain. You listen my concept building classes as if you don't know anything in that particular module. You know something, I will say something, you unnecessarily compare, unnecessarily confusions. Why all these things? When I'm building the concept, I request everyone, you listen the class as if, okay guys, okay, as if you don't know that module like anything. Is that clear, guys? I don't want to see one more person getting confusion like this. Right. Mahindra, congratulations. Yeah, one of your batchmate has got job. He has kept sharing his journey, guys. Hi, sir. Mahendra Desai from Maharashtra. I am one of your old students from Advanced Java. I have joined your spring batch, but you have not completed at that time. I have not completed at that time. I got shocked. I got an MNC offer I got an offer from an MNC company, and first they given me 80% hike, but again they increased and give me 110% hike plus joining bonus because of your notes and fabulous knowledge. I did this, and I'm working guy with 2.6 of experience. Congratulations, Mahendra. Okay, I just shared my knowledge and experiences. Fine. Right, boss. Now tell me here, what is this? These are what? Common repositories. These are what? Common repositories. Okay, common repositories. And JPA repository. JPA repository, Mongo repository, and etc. are, come on guys, database software specific repositories. Database software specific repositories. Okay guys. Now listen carefully. Code repository. Code repository. Okay. Having can generate most commonly used. Actually, I'm pronouncing as a code, guys, but actually crude. Commonly used persistence logics like insert, update, delete, select, count. Come on, guys. These are quite regularly used now, boss. Select by ID. That means find by ID, boss. Select by ID, find all. Okay, here I'll write find only. Find by ID, find all by IDs. Find all by IDs. Come on. Okay, count and etc. These persistence logic completely will be developed automatically. You need not to develop. Beauty, when it is used for SQL, it will generate these logic for SQL database automatically. When it is used for MongoDB, it will generate for these logic for MongoDB database software automatically. Come on. When it is used for what? Cassandra, it will generate these logics automatically for Cassandra. Is it not interesting, boss? You need not to write any instruction. And one more beauty I will tell. Okay. In your project, 100 tables are there. On 100 tables, you are going to do regular insert, update, delete, select operation. If you are dealing with normal JDBC or Spring JDBC or Spring ORM, for every table, you have to write persistence logic separately. Understanding? Though they are common, regular insert, update, delete, select operation. But if you go for Spring Data JPA, such logics will be generated dynamically. If you just prepare one model class representing, what is that? Teach table. Your burden is reduced or not? Burden on your shoulder is reduced or not? Come on, guys. Okay, guys. Can generate pagination and sorting related persistence logics. Can generate pagination and sorting related persistence logics dynamically for both SQL and NoSQL database. Okay, guys. For both SQL and NoSQL database softwares. Are you understanding my statement? Okay, here what is that repository, guys? Paging and sorting repository. Okay, guys. Understanding my statement, guys? Sekti Prasad, did I introduce JPA repository? Why are you shouting, Ra Babu? I request everyone, don't stop. Don't think about your knowledge. Let me present in a order. I still not introduced JPA repository, and this fellow is asking, compare me JPA repository and COD repository. Guys, if this is the case, I cannot take you to next level. Keep your mind with you, keep your knowledge with you, or if possible, hand over empty brain to me. Because if you don't listen subject in a proper order, you listen my statement, you will compare with your knowledge and unnecessarily you will confuse. I request everyone, what you know is very little and you are here to learn more. Stop doing this nonsense. Okay. Later you will be sufferer, not me. But right. Now tell me guys, JPA repository is there na? JPA repository. Yeah, now listen guys. Okay. COD repository operations plus JPA specific operations. What guys? COD repository operations. Next one. Paging and sorting repository operations plus come on guys, plus JPA specific more operations guys. JPA specific more operation, more persistence operations. Array COD repository, paging and sorting repository is forced to give, especially for both SQL and non-SQL, right? But JPA repository is specifically only for what? SQL database software. So it can offer more persistence operation related to SQL database software or not. It can offer more persistence operation related to SQL database software or not. Got it or not? It will perform COD repository operation, paging and sorting repository operation. Actually, JPA repository is extending from paging and sorting repository. Paging and sorting repository is extending from what? Called crude repository. That's why JPA repository can do multiple things. Got it, guys? JPA specific more persistence operation. Okay, operation on SQL database software. Next, Mongo repository. Mongo repository. Mongo repository. Yeah, Mongo specific more persistence operation. MongoDB specific. It's not Mango. MongoDB specific more persistence operation. Okay. Everyone getting my point, guys? These two are the common repositories for both SQL and not SQL, no SQL. But these are extra operation. SQL database related extra operation are there in this. Mongo related extra operations are there in this. Everyone getting my point, guys? Everyone getting my point, guys? Come on. So persistence operations, it will take care. Now listen, guys. Different modules of Spring Data. Spring. Oh, don't wait. I'll give more clarity. You will get goosebumps. Don't conclude. Wait. Different modules of Spring Data. Spring Data sub-modules. Spring Data sub-modules. Okay. Spring Data official website. You get into official website, guys. These are the main modules. These are the community modules, guys. These are the main modules. See, there are so many modules are there or not. Spring data. There are so many modules, sub-modules are there. Spring data, JDBC, JPI, LDAP, MongoDB, Redis, R2DBC, Spring data, REST. We have so many things. We have so many things. Cassandra, Geode, okay, VMware, community module. That means specific to each one, guys. Spring data, Elasticsearch. Spring data, Elasticsearch. There are community module. Community module means what? Not commonly used module. Specific to that particular one. Specific to that particular one. Understanding my statement? Okay, guys. Clear, boss? These are the various modules that are there. These are the various modules that we have. Copy, my dear. I think I'm able to copy paste properly. Yeah. Coming, boss. Main modules. Yeah. Yes. One by one we will take up. Okay. What is need of changing it, guys? So many are there. Array, that's what I'm trying to say. There are so many sub-modules, Rababu. And multiple community modules also there. Array, you know, community radios, community FM radios, you know, specific to one region, right? They are not commonly used. They are specific to one region. Did you ever heard about community radios? Yeah, well, limited area radios, guys. Limited area radios. But remaining channel, 98.3, Radio Mirchi, so many other things are there, na? So many other things are there, right? Okay, they are wide range. They are widely used. These are limited, very specific to one, two things. Okay, these are widely used, guys. Okay, guys. What are the modules? What we are going to learn? Okay, we are going to study this module, guys. This is our main module. Spring data JPA. This is the one thing. Okay, next I'm going to teach Spring data JDBC. This is our thing, right? Okay, Spring data JDBC and Spring data MongoDB. Okay, these are the three submodules that we are going to learn. Okay, so number one, this in real time also, utilization wise also. This is number one. Okay, actually I will give this one little time. Number two, Spring REST is different. Spring data REST is different. Both are different. Okay. Spring REST is to develop the distributed application, web service. Spring data REST is talking to certain database through RESTful, readily available RESTful web services. Understanding my point? Readily available RESTful services. Okay. Munuganti Ramesh, how Spring JDBC and Spring Data JDBC same, right? Dirty fellow. How it is same, was? How it is same? Tell me. Use your common sense. It is not same. Both are different. Both are different. Okay. Yeah, we are going to study them. These are not popularity ratings. These are not popularity ratings, boss. Is that clear? Super. Now listen. Okay. This is our Spring application, guys. This is our Spring application or Spring Boot application. Spring or Spring Boot application. Spring or Spring Boot application. Okay. Spring Boot application. Here, that internally uses what you know? Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA internally uses what you know? Hibernate. JPA Hibernate. It seriously uses only Hibernate, not other ORM framework. You know, JPA is a specification, Hibernate is the implementation, right? That internally uses JDBC. That internally uses JDBC, right? And it talks with a SQL database software. This is the flow of communication, guys. Okay. This to this, 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 this to this. Okay. Right, boss. Spring or Spring Boot application. Here is my what? Spring Data JDBC. Spring Data JDBC. Later, this is the story. Spring Data JDBC. Later, this is the story. Done, boss. Right, boss. So Spring Boot application, Spring Data JDBC. Here is my plain JDBC driver, and it talks with what? SQL database software. Understanding my statement, guys? Okay. Next. Okay, one small thing, guys. Spring or Spring Boot application. Here is my Spring Data MongoDB. Spring Data MongoDB. Here is my MongoDB driver. And here we are going to talk with MongoDB database software. MongoDB software, which is a NoSQL database software. Which is a NoSQL database software. Okay. Sir, MongoDB don't use JDBC. NoSQL don't use JDBC. Clear? Okay. Mongo driver. NoSQL. Only SQL databases needs JDBC. NoSQL, they have their own drivers. They don't need any JDBC support. Got the clarity, boss? Come on. Okay. Right. Like this, we have a basic story, guys. Now, I'm coming to the actual story. Concentrate, boss, everyone. Everyone. Okay. Now, listen. We can use Spring Data and its submodules. from Spring applications and Spring Boot applications. Got it, guys? Don't think that, okay, everywhere Spring is there means we cannot use in Spring Boot. We can also use them in what? Spring application and Spring Boot application. Anyhow, we are going to study everything in Spring Boot style only, because trending one is in the market is what? Spring Boot, right? We are going to study everything in Spring Boot style. We use Spring Data JPA from Spring Boot application. Spring Data JDBC from Spring Boot application. Understanding my statement? Okay, guys. Now listen. Yeah, today you will get more clarity, guys. Concentrate. Plain JDBC application. Plain JDBC application. Tell me. Plain JDBC application. Load JDBC driver class, right? Next. Establish the connection with the database software. Connection with the database software. Next. Establish the connection with the database software. Create a statement object. Next. Send and execute SQL queries. Gather results and process results. Next, perform exception handling. Perform exception handling. Next one, guys. Perform exception handling. Okay. Close JDBC objects. Close JDBC object or close connection with database. Right now, boss, this is plain JDBC code. Rama. These are common logics. These are application specific logics, guys. These are application specific logics. Again, these are common logics, na boss. These are common logics or not? These are common logics or not? Come on. Okay. Common logics represents what, guys? Boilerplate code. I think already I discussed this kind of point. Boilerplate code. Common logics is equal to boilerplate code. What is boilerplate code? The code that repeats in multiple parts of the application or project, either with no changes or with minor changes, is called, tell me, boilerplate code. Either with no changes or with minor changes is called boilerplate code. Understanding my statement, guys? So that's the biggest problem with the plain JDBC application or not? That's the biggest problem with the plain JDBC code or not? Yeah, boilerplate code problem is there. Agree with me, guys? Super, guys. Next. Some example of boilerplate code. Ritesh Gupta, do you know JDBC code? All these lines are representing boilerplate run. Aina. Class dot for name, driver manager dot get connection, statement st is equal to con dot create statement, con dot close, exception handling. Why? Because If we write 20 JDBC applications, in all 20 JDBC application, these lines will repeat. Only these lines will change. Suppose in your project, 30 places you are writing JDBC code. Okay, you cannot write directly these two lines. These lines should be written. But these three lines will repeat in multiple parts of the project. Such code is called boilerplate code. Such code is called boilerplate code. I think Ritesh Gupta, you never studied JDBC in your lifetime. Okay, guys. Madam Payal, madam, connection object is singleton object. Okay. If you do like this, your team leader will throw you out. Okay. Everyone, please look at the good question asked by Payal, madam. Everyone. Sir, I will take connection as a singleton so that all people will use the same connection. Okay. If 100 requests are using single connection with the database software, that's a bad practice. 100 requests means what, guys? 100 threads. All 100 threads are going to use same connection to interact with the database software. Okay. Application hang separately. First listen the problem. Request 1 using connection 1 performing insert operation in the database. In the middle process, thread switch happened. Request 2 using again connection 1 performing update operation. In the middle of the processing, thread switch happened. Request 3 came using same connection 1. Somehow it performed con.dot rollback operation. Now tell me, guys, insert and update operations also will be rolled back or not? Insert and update operation also will be rolled back or not? Why? Insert query execution is done but not committed. In that process, switching happened. Okay, update query execution is done but commit is not done. Okay, in that process, switch is done. Okay, all 3 requests are using same connection. First 2 are performing insert update operation. Third one is performing rollback operation. Because of third one's rollback operation, since all 3 requests are using same connection, insert and update operations also will be rolled back or not. That's why don't ever do this mistake. I will take single connection for all requests coming to application. Your team leader will hit your head to pillar of the company. That's a blunder mistake. Forget about the performance. Inconsistency issues will come. Data consistency issues will come. Right? Okay. Fine, guys. Data inconsistencies issues will come. Tell me, guys, here in plain JDBC. Okay. Right, guys. In plain JDBC programming. Come on, guys. Okay. We write SQL queries based persistence logic, which is database software specific. Right now, boss? Persistence logic. Fine. This is plain JDBC, guys. Tell me next. Spring JDBC application. Spring JDBC application. It is not Spring Data JDBC. This is Spring JDBC application. Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay. Tell me, what is the one I should create here? Create JDBC template class object by injecting data source object. Create JDBC template class object by injecting data source object. Send and execute SQL queries. Send and execute SQL queries. Tell me next one. Gather results and process results. Gather results and process the results. Super guys. Now tell me guys, take care of common logics na? Takes care of common logics. Okay. Now tell me, these are application specific logics or not? Okay. Application specific logics. Now tell me here, what is this? No boilerplate code problem. No boilerplate code problem. Right now, boss? No boilerplate code problem. Understanding my statement, guys? Right, no boilerplate code problem. Still, persistence logic is SQL queries based. SQL queries based database software dependent persistence logic. Still, this problem is there or not? Okay, this is advanced. This is pro. This is con. Right? Con means drawback. Tell me. This is con. And even this is con. That means constraint drawback. Con means constraint. Okay. Con means constraint. Nothing but drawback. Pros means advantage. Pros means advantage. Are any data source, any data source you can inject. If it is Spring Boot, you will inject Picari data source. If it is other one, you can go for other one. Okay. Right, boss. This is this one. So Spring JDBC is providing abstraction on plain JDBC. What do you say, guys? Spring JDBC is providing abstraction on plain JDBC program. Plain JDBC program. Everyone getting my point, guys? Next one. Spring Data JDBC application. What is this, guys? Next one. Spring Data JDBC application. Spring Data JDBC application. Okay, guys. Take model class representing. Take model class representing DB table. DB table. Next. Okay. Create custom repository. Custom repository interface extending from CRUD or paging and sorting or JPA repository. I think here you cannot expand from JPA repository. JPA repository. and you don't believe, my dear, you need not to do anything. You need not to do anything. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Because, okay, you need not to do anything. Sir, this is interface na, sir. This is interface na. Then how persistence logics will be generated, guys? How persistence logics will be generated? Array, the Spring Data JDBC internally generates, okay, dynamic, what is this? In-memory proxy class. Come on. In-memory proxy class. Are you listening my statement? Dynamic in-memory proxy class. Okay, dynamic in-memory proxy class having implementation for okay, direct comma inherited methods of custom repository. Array, it will inherit some method from card repository, paging and sorting repository. Are you listening my statement, guys? Custom repository having JDBC persistence loss. JDBC persistence logic. Come on, guys. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Okay. Yeah, we cannot see it, but we can feel it because that's a dynamic. Can you see object? Can you see method stack? Can you see heap? Can you see JVM memory? Then why are asking, can we see that class? Muddy fellows. I said, what is that? In-memory proxy class. That means that is created where, guys? In JVM memory, right? Having JDBC persistence logic. Dynamic in-memory proxy class in the JVM memory, right? In the JVM memory of RAM. JVM memory of RAM. Having implementation for direct or inherited methods of custom repository interface having JDBC persistence logic plus database software space, underlying database software specific SQL queries. Sir, here queries are database software specific na. They are dynamically generated. So what? When you change the database, again queries will change. What's the problem, right? Okay. When database is changed, got it, guys? Got it, guys? Okay. Listen, guys. This code generally takes care of regularly used card operations related persistence logics. Are you with me, guys? Are you with me? Tell me, guys. This is like washing clothes with hands. This is like washing clothes with a semi-automated washing machine. Here you should write still specific logic. You should write only common logics are dynamically generated. Still we should write specific logic. Here that headache is there. Here that headache is there. Okay. We should write both common logics and app specific logics. We should write both common logics and app specific logics. Application specific logic. We should write only application specific logic. Understanding my point? Next. Okay. All persistence logics will be generated dynamically by just giving custom repository. All persistence logics, both common and application specific, by just giving custom repository. By just giving custom repository. Understanding my statement, guys? Okay, I think life has become simplified or not? Life has become simple or not? Okay, Nazir Sheikh, wait ra babu. I'm coming to data JPA. Wait ra naina, wait. Okay. Right. It is like what? Washing clothes with hands. This is like what? Washing clothes with a semi-automated washing machine. This is like washing clothes by using fully automated washing machine. Agree with me, boss? Agree with me? Okay, guys. Now listen carefully. Plain hibernate application. What application, guys? Plain hibernate application. Write both common and application specific logics. In plain hibernate also we have boilerplate code problem, guys. Clarity is very important, guys. Tell me. Create configuration object. At least few people knows plain hibernate. Can I count them while explaining this one? Create configuration object. Create session factory object. Create session object, right? Create session object. Create transaction object. Okay, tell me, guys. Right. Objects based persistence logic using session object. Using a session object. Next, commit or rollback transaction. Commit or rollback transaction. Are you listening my statement, guys? Next, close session. Close session factory. Yeah. Listen carefully. What all these guys? Common logics. What all these guys? Application specific logics. Are you listening my statement? Application specific logics. Saurav Verma, what is my discussion and what you are asking? Are you not listening, class? Are you not listening, class? The connection point gone half an hour back and you are still fighting on that. I don't know here what you are studying and what you are getting. Please focus on current point, Ra Babu. Please focus. At the end, you can ask your questions. You are not listening, class. You are busy typing lengthy paragraph. And tomorrow again, you will get problems in today's class. You are not a kid, man, to tell how to listen the class. Feel shame, Ra Babu. Feel shame for what you are doing. Okay. Right, boss. Application specific logics. Next one. Okay. Tell me here. Common logics. Common logics. Tell me, guys. Yeah. Tell me what is the limitation here, my dear? What is the limitation here? You are not responding. Are you listening, guys? Are you there with me? Yeah. Objects-based persistence logic is database software independent persistence logic. This is pros, right? Next, lots of boilerplate code. Here also boilerplate code is there. Boilerplate code. This is the This is the constraint. Got it, my dear? Super. Common logic comes under boilerplate code only, na boss? Tell me next. Spring ORM. Spring ORM application. Okay. Spring ORM application. Write only application specific logics because Spring ORM provides abstraction on plain ORM frameworks. Like Hibernate. Yeah, tell me, guys. Create Hibernate template class object by injecting data source comma session factory. Data source comma session factory. And if I don't spend this time, you never get clarity about all these things, Babu. What's the use of learning Spring Data JPA without knowing why it is came, why it came into the market, right? Okay, my concept building sessions are very important, boss, because I get into the core point. Now tell me next one. Okay, use Hibernate template class object. Hibernate template class object to perform objects based persistence logic development. What do you say, guys? Objects based persistence logic development. Takes care of common logics, na boss? Takes care of common logics. Are like JDBC template, it also take care of common logics. What do you say, boss? Takes care of common logics. Next, these are application specific logics. Application specific logics. Right now, boss, tell me, both problems are solved now. Objects based persistence logic is database software independent and no boilerplate code. This time, is there any boilerplate code, guys? No boilerplate code. Understanding my statement? This is also pros, right? This is also pros, guys. This is also pros. Now I'm coming to big boss, guys. Spring Data JPA application. Spring Data JPA application. Just develop custom repository extending from existing repositories. Interfaces. Existing repository interfaces. Okay. And all persistence logics, both common and application specific, will be generated dynamically. So your life becomes more easy or not, guys? Next, develop model class. Develop model class per DB table. For DB table. Tell me, guys. Develop custom repository. Interface extending from CRUD paging and sorting or tell me, guys, JPA repository. Here JPA option is there. JPA repository. Understanding my statement, guys? JPA repository. Okay, here what is this, guys? Here what is this? Same statement but small changes. Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA. Come on, guys. Internally generate dynamic in-memory proxy class in the JVM memory of RAM, having implementation for direct, indirect methods of what? Custom repository. With, okay, having, what is this, guys? Having what? JPA Hibernate persistence class. JPA Hibernate persistence logic. JPA Hibernate persistence logic. Persistence logic as objects based database software independent persistence logic. Got it, guys? I think now you got understood the difference between Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data JPA. Both working style is different. But Spring Data JPA uses JPA internally, Hibernate internally. Spring Data JDBC uses JDBC internally. But the way we work with both are same or not? The way we work in both are same or not? Come on. Okay. Yeah, tell me here. No boilerplate code. Yes, pros. Okay. Next. No boilerplate code. Next one. Objects based persistence logic. Right now, boss? Persistence logic. The objects based database software. Independent persistence logic. Okay, guys. Next. The objects based database software independent persistence logic. What's the next advantage, guys? What's the next advantage? Okay. Easy to develop and use. This is most important. On the fly code can be completed or not. Easy to develop and use, guys. Okay. Because most commonly used persistence logics will be generated dynamically. Database software independent persistence logic, guys. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Easy to develop and use, guys. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear? Come on, boss. Yeah, one more angle is there. I will tell in tomorrow's session. One more beautiful angle is there, guys. I hope you benefited with this today's session. You benefited with this today's session. Come on. I think if someone asks you, when you have a plain JDBC, when you have a plain Hibernate, Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, why are you going for Spring Data JPA? You have an answer or not? You have an answer or not? Come on. What is need of Spring Data module? Spring Data module provides unified model. Unified model to interact with both. To interact with both SQL and NoSQL database software with the support of repository pattern. Repository pattern. Repository pattern says, okay, all commonly used persistence logic. You don't instruct, you don't guide me. I only generate internally. I only generate internally. Understanding my statement, boss? Okay. At least in Spring JDBC, in Spring ORM, you should give what is required for you. You want to perform insert operation? Okay. If 20 lines code is there, 3 lines you write, 17 lines it will generate. But in Spring Data JPA, in Spring JDBC, what it says? I will generate all 20 lines because I know what is required for you. I know what is required for you. Is it not interesting, boss? Spring Data people says only one thing. On any table, what you do? 4 or 5 card operations you do, right? Or 10 maximum operations you do regularly. Okay, why are you giving instructions? You giving instruction, I am generating. Do one thing. I am giving all the 10 to you, take it and enjoy. I am giving all the 10 to you, take it and enjoy. You don't ask me. That attitude is very great, boss, in Spring Data module, right? Okay. Super, guys. Thank you, boss. We'll meet tomorrow.